So if you're seeing me today, right, you'll notice I have my glasses on. And one of the reasons why I have my glasses on is because I have a pretty good demonstration that I want to be able to go through today. And I really need to be able to see my computer screen so that I can really give you the information it is that you are going to be looking for. And what I want to go over today is something that I saw on Reddit. So I was perusing Reddit, looking for some ideas for my YouTube video for this week. And I wanted to see what other advisors were out there doing from a lead gen perspective. And this particular Reddit thread caught my eye. And this is from, I don't even know how to pronounce this particular Redditor's name, Zenovelli. Maybe that's how you pronounce it. I'm not entirely sure. But he says, this sub hates every paid lead generation solution. How do you generate prospects or how do you generate prospect leads on your own? So I take it that this guy is maybe new. I don't know. He could be a much more seasoned advisor. I don't really think that's the case, because if he was, he probably would have some ideas about how he can do lead generation already. So I'm going to go with the assumption that this person is new. I'm probably going to go with the assumption as well that this person may not have a whole lot of money in order to do marketing. And this is going to kind of really be the basis for what I want to talk about in this video. And I'll share that with you here in just a little bit. But let's take a little bit of time here to kind of see what kind of advice that people, was able to give out to him, right? So he says, from what I've seen, this sub hates all paid lead gen. Smart Asset, Ramsey, Smart Advisor, Zoe Financial, etc. You're better off just burning money, right? So just whatever money you got, put it in a big pile and then just light a match to it. He's saying basically you're better off doing that. And, he's really looking for advice on, how to build a pipeline, etc., all that kind of stuff. Now, I'm not going to go into all the details and read everything it is that you have here. You can pause the video and you can read that for yourself. But some of the comments that, are on this particular thread were really, really interesting, right? With the first one being, this guy said social media. Now, social media, very broad, but he mentioned online content since COVID has now generated 190 clients from him. Right. So let's say, I think COVID was 2020, right? We're in 2025. So over a 5-year period, this guy has gotten 190 new clients and $0 spent on ads. And what he's using is YouTube, right? I'm on YouTube. You're watching this video on YouTube right now. If that's not a sign that you should be at least getting content on YouTube, I don't know what is, right? YouTube is a long-term strategy. You're not going to put a video up on YouTube today and automatically start generating leads tomorrow, unless you have something that's super viral. But obviously it is a valid strategy or a good strategy that you can roll out, right? So we got one thing for YouTube here, right? The other thing that popped up here that I thought was interesting as well is, right, this guy kind of gave some honest feedback here saying, getting started can be very rough, right? He talks about lead lists, which I would not necessarily recommend, right? You got these lead lists. You don't know who's on the do not call list. If you don't vet that, you can definitely get in trouble, FTC fines, all that kind of stuff like that. That can be a bit risky. He did mention seminars. We do seminars in our agency here. Seminars are definitely a great way in order to generate leads, but those can, they can kind of be a bit expensive depending upon what kind of seminar it is that you're doing. So whether you're doing a dinner seminar or educational seminar, either way, you're going to have to spend a decent amount of money on a campaign in order to get enough people to sign up and show up. He talked about networking. Okay, yes, everybody knows networking works, but that takes a lot of time, right? You may have to go to multiple networking events. You're going to be tired. You don't know who you're going to meet there. You may meet some good prospects. You may not meet some good prospects, right? Team clients. I'm not really sure what he was going on as it relates to this, but he also talks about family and friends. I think this is where most people always start out at, right? If you're brand new in a particular industry, very first thing that you're going to do is you're going to hit up your friends and family. But there's only so many referrals that you're going to get from that, right? So he kind of gave some honest feedback on that, but that's going to be a slow process. Here's another comment here, right? This person said you really have to have a two-pronged approach. What can you do to get in front of people now? And what can you build today to considerably get people in front of you down the line? And I definitely like that particular approach, right? And this is one of the reasons why YouTube is that long-term strategy. So he's saying you need to find something that will give you immediate results, which I'm going to share with you here in just a few moments. And then it's also a good idea, right, to plan long term. Think about creating a YouTube channel where if you start today, 6 months from now, if you put out a video every week, every 2 weeks, whatever cadence it is that you decide, if you put in the reps and put in the time, you are going to eventually start to generate leads from that particular channel. So I thought what he mentioned here was very good as well. Someone else also picked up and mentioned about Facebook being a viable option. Essentially what they were doing is basically running a VSL funnel. So they have video content that leads to a landing page. When people click on the landing page, they can go there, they can book a call. Those funnels can be expensive to run, right? You're going to probably spend anywhere from $1,500 to $2,000 a month in order to get started with that kind of funnel, in order to generate some leads for your practice. We do VSLs in our agency also, but that's not the absolutely like lowest cost way to do anything. The last one I'm going to share here real quick is this person mentioned educational events. Now, again, obviously a great way in order to generate leads because it gives you the ability to, showcase your expertise. You have to educate people in order to get them to take the next step. You're not really just going to say a few words to somebody and all of a sudden the light bulb is going to go on for them and they're going to reach out and want to schedule a call. You need to have some kind of education element there in order to, warm that lead up, start to build that trust, start to build that particular relationship. And he went on to say a bunch of other things here, but I want to get into what I want to share with you here today. And that is, I want to give away a simple process that you can follow right now in order to do your very first webinar and do it at very low cost. I'm talking $500 minimum. So if you only have $500 in order to generate leads, generate consultations, what I'm going to share with you here today is going to be a simple system that you can follow that will get you the results it is that you're looking for. And there's only 3 steps, right? So I got these 3 steps that's on this Google Doc. I'm going to share the link to this Google Doc in the description of the video as well. You can just, click on file and make a copy, and you can save that to your Google Drive or whatever the case may be. But this is what we are going to go through today. So first thing you need to do is, I'm partial to webinars. Again, we need some kind of education element here in order to get the lead to, one, be interested in what it is that you're offering, and then give them enough education that's hopefully going to lead them down a path in order to book a consultation with you. So for that particular reason, a webinar is a great way to do that. It's not something that you need to do in person. It's low cost, right? You only need a computer, which you're watching YouTube, so I know you got one, right? Or maybe you're watching on a cell phone, but I hope you got a computer. You're going to need PowerPoint or Google Slides, or I'm not even sure what Apple calls theirs because I don't use it, but you need a presentation, right? Now, you may be thinking, all right, Chris, presentation, slide, yeah, but I don't exactly know what to say, right? Now, that may seem crazy as an advisor, right? For you to be an expert or have knowledge in whatever it is that you're doing, but I get it. It can be intimidating to try to put all of that knowledge together in a format that doesn't completely bore somebody to death or completely overwhelm them. And for that reason, I actually have a very simple little template or webinar flow that you could actually follow. So what I did was I took one of our best clients webinars. This is going to be a Social Security webinar, right? And the reason why I decided to do Social Security, one, it's a very broad topic. It produces a lot of volume, so it's going to produce a good number of leads for you. And it's generally something, just about every financial advisor can do, especially if you're starting out brand new, right? So I took one of their webinar presentations and broke it down into the main elements that you will want to focus on. Now, obviously, I'm not giving you their actual presentation. This is just more of a 30,000 foot kind of overview of what everything is. But you can, go through this, and this will give you a really good idea about how you want to structure your actual presentation itself. Now, if you're looking for an actual slide deck or a pre-built presentation, there are a few companies out there that offer these. Now, these are, paid presentations that they actually sell. One particular website that I tend to refer advisors over to is called Horse's Mouth. So just like a horse that you ride, right? And then mouth, you speak with horsesmouth.com. If you go to that website, they have a number of different presentations. If you just happen to have some extra money and you're like, hey, I don't want to build out my own presentation, I just want to get something that I know will automatically work, somebody else has already spent the time on, you can definitely go check out Horse's Mouth and you can get something there. But if you don't want to spend the money, this particular flow right here will be good enough in order to get you started. Right. So once you have your presentation down, right, you obviously want to be able to record it. And this is where YouTube is going to come into play, right? So YouTube, free platform. If you don't have a YouTube channel, go ahead on and create one. You can Google how to do that. I'm not going to go into all the details and the step-by-step on that part, but create your channel and you want to record your webinar. You can record using YouTube, right? So you already have the tools in order to do that. Don't feel like you got to make your presentation like super duper polished also, right? A lot of times when clients come to us and they want to do the webinar, they're always concerned about how professional it needs to be. Like, does it need to be overproduced or anything like that? No, it doesn't. If you're in your office, home office, as long as you have some decent lighting and audio is going to be the most important thing, obviously, right? You want people to be able to hear you. You definitely want people to be able to see you too, but if you had to spend money on anything, I will make sure you have a good mic at least. And again, make sure you have some good lighting there. But you can record your presentation with YouTube. And what you want to do is you want to upload that to YouTube as a unlisted video. And you're going to need a way for people to book consultations with you, right? Because in your webinar presentation, you're going to have a call to action that's going to, give people the option to schedule a consultation with you. So you want to have some kind of online calendar, like maybe Calendly. I use Calendly. There's a host of other ones out there, Acuity. If you use the Google Calendar, Google actually has a way for people to book appointments directly on your Google Calendar. So you really don't even need to buy any other tool. If you're using, kind of like the Google Work subscription, if you already have that, you can definitely use that as a way for people to book appointments there too. So all of those first two steps, right, are fairly easy. Now, what I want to be able to show you today is going to be step 3, right? This is going to be creating the campaign. And this is where a lot of people start to go wrong, or a lot of people get stuck on. So I'm going to show you how you can create a campaign from scratch. I'm going to give you ad copy that you can actually use in your campaign as well. Now, this ad copy we have been using for years. This ad has never not worked for us. There has never been an instance where we have used this particular ad copy and it did not generate leads and it didn't generate book consultations. So I know it's going to work for you. And I also included an image that you can use for the ad as well. Now, so you see this is a text image, right? And it's basically a question, right? Are you taking Social Security at 62 or waiting until 70? And the reason why this particular image works so well is because that's the number one question that a lot of retirees always have. The conundrum is, do I claim Social Security early, or do I wait and try to maximize the most amount, the most Social Security that I can get by waiting? So these two things are going to severely cut down the learning phase for you, and it's going to set you up for success so that you can get, leads and get consultations booked. So let's jump right on into the campaign creation. So I'm going to go into one of the ad accounts it is that we have here, and we're going to start out from scratch. So first thing that you want to do, and let me back up for a moment, because I'm just making the assumption that you already have a Facebook ad account. So I'm going to guess you're probably on Facebook already. If you aren't on Facebook, go ahead on and create a profile. Once you create a profile, you can create an ad account. I will drop an additional resource in here on how you can do that, because I didn't put that on the Google Doc, or maybe I'll add that to it as well. But it's a very simple process, not very difficult at all. Obviously, you need to have a payment method for your ad account, because you need to spend a little bit of money in order for Facebook to be able to show your ads to you. But assuming you got all of that set up, you have a Facebook ad account, you have a Facebook business page. Once you get your ad account set up, this is where you will need to go. So you will go to Ads Manager and you are going to create a new campaign. So this green Create Campaign button here, we're going to click on this. And what we're going to choose is we're going to choose leads, right? This is the only objective that you want to use. You don't want awareness, you don't want traffic, you don't want engagement, you don't want app promotion. We know that you want to eventually sell somebody on something, but that's not the applicable option or the appropriate option here for what we're doing right now. We want to choose leads. So we're going to choose leads and we're going to hit continue, right? So you're likely going to get this pop up right here where Facebook is going to offer you the opportunity to do a tailored leads campaign or manual campaign. We want to go manual campaign. You never want these ad platforms to guide you on the type of campaign that you should set up. And the reason that is because they want to get you to spend as much money as you possibly can. And they don't know the best practices for your particular niche. So you're going to choose manual leads campaign here. And I'm going to show you what you will need to do in order to get this campaign set up. So right, one, you want to give your campaign a name. So we'll just say Social Security webinar. So we'll just give it that. And then we want to change this budget here, right, to lifetime. So I said, $500, right? So $500 is going to be the most amount of money that we're going to spend on this particular campaign. You can leave on this advantage campaign budget. That's completely fine right there. That's all we need to do on this very first screen. Next screen here, right? What we're going to do is we want to give our ad set a name, and it doesn't really matter what you call this. So we're just going to call this Social Security webinar again as well. And then we're going to choose instant forms as the conversion mechanism it is that we're going to use. And the reason why we're going to choose this is because this is going to allow you to create a campaign without needing to create landing pages or have a website or, any of this other information. Now, hopefully you do have a website as an advisor, but if you don't know how to create a landing page, no worries, the instant forms is going to work for you. Now, what we do in our agency, we actually do create custom landing pages because they do convert better and they do give you more control over a lot of elements that you want to deploy in order to make sure your campaign is successful as possible. But again, we're thinking with the idea that we don't have a whole lot of money to spend and we're looking for a low effort, low cost way in order to be able to do this. So from here, right, we're going to choose a page. So I'm just going to stick with this smart retirement page here. In your scenario, right, you will select your page. Your page should likely default directly to this. Sometimes you may have to accept some terms of service in order to be able to use the instant forms. If you do, just click the button if you see it and accept that. Right. So from here, what we want to do is we want to set the schedule for this particular campaign. Now, webinars that we do, we typically run them for about 7 days. And a lot of the webinars that we do, we set them up to run on a particular day and a particular time. In your scenario, for what we're doing right here today, we're going to go with the idea that we are going to do a on-demand webinar. So this is not going to be a scheduled webinar that's going to start, for example, on Monday at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. This is going to be a webinar where every time somebody opts in, we're going to redirect them directly to YouTube where they can immediately watch your video. So you could set this up to run for a week. You could set it up to run for 14 days, whatever the case may be. We're going to go with the idea that we're going to spend this $500 in a week because I want to get a consultation booked as soon as possible. So today, at the time of the recording for this video is April 24th. So we're going to set this campaign up to end on, so 1 week is going to be May 1st, right? And you can leave the time here. We'll set a end time to be, we'll just go at midnight. So this is going to end midnight on May 1st. So next up, we need to do some geo-targeting for where we want to target our ads to. Now, I'm here in Dallas, Texas. So I'm just going to put in Dallas, Texas here. You can put in whatever location it is that you would like to do. This is going to default to a 25-mile radius. You can change this to whatever it is that you like. You can go down to as little as 10 miles or, as big as a 50-mile radius. It really just depends. Now, the fact that you're doing a webinar, right? Technically, you should be able to work with anyone, anywhere, especially if you are going to be a virtual advisor. And if that's the case, right, you may want to max this out at a 50-mile radius. And we're just going to go with that particular assumption, but change the geo to whatever it is that you would like to do. Okay, so from here, what we want to do is, this is where Facebook tries to be a little bit sneaky and they try to hide stuff here from you. So Facebook wants you to use the Advantage Plus audience. We don't want to use that. We want to have a little bit more control over the interests that we're going to use in order to tell Facebook who we want to show the ads to, right? So you want to look for this little verbiage here that says switch to original audience options. So we're going to click on this. And then of course they give you this little warning, right? They're saying, hey, you could have up to a 9.7% lower cost per result if you stick with this Advantage Plus. We don't want that. It does not work that well for this particular niche. We only use this as a last resort if we can't get results any other way, but we're going to go with the original audience. And what we want to do is, right, we're going to scroll back down. One, we want to be able to dictate what age it is. If you choose Advantage Plus, Facebook is going to show your ads to everybody, right? We don't want to show ads to everybody because if we're talking about Social Security, right? The only people who are really going to find this relevant are going to be people who are 55 on up, more than likely, right? So we're going to set our age to 55. We're going to leave 65 plus on here as is. When it comes to detailed targeting, you'll see that Advantage Plus is turned on. We don't want Advantage Plus. We're going to turn that off. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put in some interests here that we want to set the campaign up for, right? So one, we're going to type in, let's just say wealth management, right? So that's going to be one interest it is that we want to use. We want to use investment management, investment strategy, financial plan. Let's see. We don't want to do financial services. That's too broad of a topic. Let's do retirement planning, right? These are some good options. Pension fund, right? These are some good interests that you can use. So you want to stack as many of these as you possibly can. And you'll see as you start to add and or subtract some of these interests from here, your estimated audience size is going to change. So right now, our estimated audience size is up to about 1.3 million people. Now, Facebook is not going to show your ad to 1.3 million people. One, we're only spending $500. And then two, because we chose the lead objective, only about 20% of this audience is going to be your viable audience here. So let's just go with some round numbers, and we're just going to say, out of 1 million people, 20% of 1 million, right, is going to be 200,000. So we're just going to say roughly only about 200,000 people fall into this bucket of people that we really want to be able to show the ads to. So we'll leave these interests in here. Now, you can give Facebook the option to reach people outside of your detailed targeting, meaning you could put in these interests, and then Facebook is going to kind of treat these as kind of like some guardrails, but they may go outside of these particular interests. We're going to uncheck this for the time being, right? So we don't want to do that. And you'll see when I uncheck that, right, this took our audience down to about, 500,000 people. So these are really the people it is that we want to be able to focus on. So we're going to leave that box unchecked. Okay. So now that we got our age in here, we got our targeting in here, we got our geo targeting. Next up, we want to go to the ad level, right? And this is where we want to give our ad a name. So again, we'll just go with Social Security ad. It's literally just internal. Nobody's going to see it. You're going to have your page here, right? It is that you're going to use. Let's just go ahead on and select that. Okay. And so sometimes you get these warnings that pop up in here. We're going to ignore that for right now. We can leave this check right here for multi-advertiser ads, so no problem at all. And what we're going to do, right, we're going to create, well, one, let me back up for a moment. We actually need to set up our creative. So one, we're going to have an image ad that we're going to use. And let's go ahead on. We're going to upload. Let's see if we can find. Let's go upload here. And I'm going to grab my image here. And I'm going to add this in here. Right. So this is going to be our image. Now, this image is already optimized for square. So we're going to leave it as original. We're going to leave this vertical one as original also. Facebook will kind of add some blue background to this to, make this blend in with everything else. For this one, we're actually going to change this to 1 by 91 by 1. And we just want to have this, make sure that this grid is covering this middle part here, right? So we'll go ahead and we'll just click next there. And now we want to add in some text. So the text that we're going to add, right, is going to be this. So we're going to go ahead on, we're going to copy the text from the Google Doc, and we're going to put that in there. That's going to be our text. And then our headline, right? Now this is Facebook trying to give us some AI headlines that are in here. I don't particularly like those, so I'm not going to use them. We're just gonna say watch our free on demand webinar to learn how to maximize your Social Security benefits, right? Okay, so we're going to use that, right? So that's going to be our headline that we are going to use. And again, they gave you some suggestions here. Feel free to, take these and use them if you want. There's no harm in trying. And let's see, call to action, right? We're going to leave our call to action. They have sign up in here. Let's see, they may have watch now. They actually don't have watch now. So we're going to leave this as sign up, right? So we're going to leave that as sign up. Image creation, we don't want that. We're going to use the image that we've already have set up here. So we're going to skip that. And this is Facebook and their algorithm or their AI trying to give you some suggestions on different things that you can do. We can leave this turned on. It's no big deal, right? So this is what our ad essentially looks like right now. So if we click on this, right, this is kind of small to see here. I'll see if I can blow this up a little bit more. You can preview this ad by clicking on send notification to Facebook. And if you're on iPhone, this will only work on iOS. It'll send you a notification and you can actually see what the ad looks like. But this is what the ad will look like to everybody who's actually viewing it, right? So let me just go ahead on and reduce that back down a little bit more. All right, so now that we have our text in here, we have our image that we're going to use. Let's uncheck this. And they want to know why we don't want to use these. We're just going to say something else. I don't want to use those, so keep unselected. Okay, so let's just get rid of that right there. And let's just go ahead on and close this up right here too. Okay, so now that we have that in here, right, we need a form. So we need to build a form from scratch. So we're going to create new form, and you can just give this a name. So we'll just call this Social Security webinar, right? And what you want to do is you want to choose the option for higher intent. The reason why that is because if you choose more volume, Facebook is going to make it really easy for people to fill out this form. And in your mind, that may seem like a good idea, but we really want to put a little friction there for people to sign up, because we don't just want anybody just, clicking some buttons and just automatically signing up, right? We want people to kind of really think through what it is that they're doing. So we're going to choose the higher intent form type. And then we're going to turn off this flexible form delivery. This is Facebook's way of trying to basically analyze people who are filling out forms, and they may take away some of your form options depending upon whether or not they think the person has the propensity to complete that form. We don't want that. Again, a little friction in your marketing will go a long way. So we're going to turn this off, and we're going to click next. So headline that we're going to use here is, right, we're going to do watch our on demand webinar on how to maximize your let's see, social security. Ooh, well, actually this headline here is a little too long. Okay. On, let's see, maximizing your Social Security. Okay. There, we are right at 60 characters here. Okay. So, paragraph here, right? So a little bit of a description. We'll just say complete the form below to watch the webinar now. Okay. And you can add more context to this if you want. It's totally up to you. But this is just our little quick greeting here. So we'll go ahead and click next. Now, this is where, right, we need people to fill in some information. Now, we want to do a little bit of segmentation here because we want to have a little bit of an idea about the type of lead it is that we are going to be generating. So there's 2 questions that I have in mind that I think we should ask. And what we're going to do here is we're going to make this a multiple choice option here. So first thing that we're going to ask is, will Social Security be your only source? As you can see, typing is not my strong suit, of retirement income. Okay, so the reason why I think this is a good question to ask is, one, if they say that Social Security is going to be their only source of income, that's a likely chance that they don't have any other assets, right, to work with, which as a financial advisor, there's only so much that you can do for people, right? You want to make sure that you can capture AUM if that's what you're doing, or maybe if you have a product of some sort, it is that that may make sense to put them in. They need to have some kind of investable assets in order for you to be able to do that. So asking this question up front will at least give you some kind of idea as to the quality of this particular lead. Now, the next question that we're going to ask here is, we're going to say, how much have you saved for retirement? Right, and then we can put in some options here, right? And I'm not going to put all of these in here, but you'll get the idea. We'll go 0 to let's just say 99,000, right? We'll go 100,000 to 250,000, and we'll go also 250,000. We'll just say 250 plus, right? I mean, you guys kind of get the idea here, right? So we want to give people these 2 questions to ask, so that we'll have some kind of idea about income, and not income, but yes, income, Social Security or retirement income that they may have, right? Whether or not they're just going to be completely relying on Social Security income, or do they have some kind of assets it is that you may be able to work with. And for here, right, we can just do full name. We'll do email. I like to add phone number on here also because, right, you're starting out. You want to get as many leads, as many consultations booked as possible. I'm going to call people. Now, you're going to have some people who are going to put in a wrong phone number here. It's the internet. You're going to see it. Don't get discouraged. Not everybody does it, but don't be surprised if you do see a wrong phone number in here. So full name, email, phone number is enough for us to be able to work with. All right, so now we'll do next here. Right now here we need to have a privacy policy. So hopefully you have your website, right? And you have a privacy policy on your website. If you don't have one, create a privacy policy, put it on your website, because you will need to link out to that particular privacy policy. So we're just going to do smartretirement.com. I'm just sticking that in there. That's all you need to do here. And you're going to click next. And typically this would give you a little preview here, but for whatever reason, something's not showing up there. So we're going to go ahead and click next here. And then here's our headline here, right? So for this, what we'll do is we'll say, click the button below to watch the webinar now. Okay. All right. And we'll just say, thank you. Okay. Now, again, you can type whatever you want to put here. But what's going to happen is, right, we have this option selected here to say go to website. And the website that we want to send them to is going to be your YouTube channel. So here's my YouTube channel here. I'm just going to grab a link to just a random video. And what you want to do is you want to put the link to your unlisted video. So get your unlisted video link, put that in there, and then that's where, oops, I chose WhatsApp. That's not what I want to do. Go back, put that in there. Okay, here we go. So this is where people are going to go. So we'll just say watch now on demand, right? So we'll just do that for our button action. And then you're going to create form. Well, it looks like I got a little error up here. I got this little red check mark for questions. Oh, okay. We forgot to fill this out over here. So we need to let people know how we're going to be using their information. So if you click here, it'll give you some examples of what you may want to use here. So let's say that you do have a newsletter or something that you're going to add people to. You can choose this. Or you can, put in whatever it is that you want to put here. You can say that we're going to use your information to follow up with you after the webinar. Let's actually put that in there. Okay, so we will use your information to follow up after the webinar. Okay, all right, so now we should be compliant. Let's click next, next, next. Let's just get back to the end, and then we're going to create form. Okay, all right. So now our form has been created, and from here, right? That's really all we need to do, right? We have our ad, we have our image, we have our form, and from here you can go ahead on and you can click publish on your particular campaign. So this is going to load this up, and looks like we have a little setup error here. Oh, it's because I didn't select the terms of service. So on this particular page here, let's just go back. Let's do view terms. I need to select the terms of service there. I mentioned it earlier, but I didn't do it. Okay, there we go. So now we have selected our terms. Let's go ahead on and hit publish now. And this should be publishing our ad. So what's going to happen here next is Facebook is going to review your campaign, right? So they're going to review the ad copy, the image, everything that we put together. They're going to review that. Once they have reviewed it and they've approved it, your campaign is going to start to run. So in our scenario, right, our campaign should start sometime later today. It's going to take a couple of hours in order for Facebook to do all that. And it's going to end on May 1st. And that's all you need to do, right? So that was not too bad, right? We did that all in about, I don't know, maybe 40 some odd minutes total, for me, recording this particular video. But obviously it may take you a little bit longer because, you obviously have to create the presentation and all the other stuff. I just really, want to spend the time here to kind of show you how to set up the Facebook campaign. But this is a very low cost, low effort, quick and easy way that you can get started with a campaign that will produce leads, produce results, consultations for you, so that you can start to, build your pipeline of prospects on Facebook. All right, so now that I've shared with you a simple 3-step process that you can use in order to go from having 0 leads to maybe only spending $500 in order to book leads and consultations, I'd love to hear your feedback. What's your major takeaway that you got from this particular video? Would love to hear comments about whether or not you thought this was a good idea, bad idea. Maybe you've tried this already before and you didn't get any results. If you are a financial advisor and you looked at this and you're like, hey, Chris, that's great. I see how easy it is, but you know what? I don't want to have to deal with creating Facebook campaigns, writing ad copy, creating images, and you want us to be able to help you with that, then definitely click the link below in the description. It should take you to our website. You can learn more about who we are as an agency, who we are able to help, and how we can put together a campaign that's similar to the one in this particular video. So that's all I have for you today. I'll see you in the next one.